In the thief world, there are a lot of things that can be punished, and it's very important where it happens. On the outside, in prison, who is being questioned? A criminal or an ordinary man? If a person is not in the know, and such people are the majority, he can be simply divorced in order to rob him or force him to do something. For example, a man did something wrong. Well, for example, turned around to whistle. You can ask him, why does he turn around to whistle? Turn around when he whistles. Is he a dog? And from the criminal world's point of view, such a person is not worthy of respect. You can also deceive a sucker and, for example, rob him, but you can't steal from your own people, otherwise there will be a demand. To summarize, the demand depends on the suit and on a particular person. Everything is individually. Suits in the world of thieves. In the thieves' hierarchy, especially in prisons, there are castes. Suits. Each of them has its own responsibilities, rights, and of course punishments. This hierarchy is spreading in all the countries of the former USSR. There are 4 main groups and several intermediate groups. One of the peculiarities of such a system is that they can ask for any trifle and transfer to a lower rank. For any trifle and transfer to a lower rank, but it is extremely difficult to rise. Is extremely difficult. For example, if a Blatnoy sits at the table of cocks in the canteen, he becomes a rooster himself. But a rooster can never become a Blatnik. The highest rank in such a system is held by Blateni, authorities, representatives, blacks. Typically, these are individuals who are professionally involved in criminal activities. If the prison is not red, controlled by the administration, it is the Blatni who hold the power. Those who have worked in the service industry or served in the military cannot become Blatni. But this is more of a convention, and this rule is not necessary for fulfillment. It can become a clue for further demand from a person when he becomes undesirable. Authorites do not work in prison, do not hold any positions, otherwise they will be transferred to goats. Blatni collect dormitories and warm up other convicts. Among their duties are supplying the zone with tea, food, alcohol, etc. They also settle disputes, acting as a judge, and impose punishments. But if a Blatnoy acted unjustly to someone, he would be harshly demanded. Blatniks rarely call themselves Blatniks. Most often they call themselves vagabonds, bossiaks, wayfarers, arrestees. If a person calls himself a Blatnik but is not, he can be put down, maimed, and even killed. The men, grey caste, is the most numerous. Men are not random people in the zone. Usually they go to jail for various everyday things and may be recidivists. Most often men have served in the army, have a family, and work. Men can be leaders. Most often they are bugrami, brigadiers, in prisons. If the Blatniks have a showdown, the men have no right to interfere. If a man refuses to work, he can be killed. There is also another caste, activists. They are also called bitches or goats. These are people who try to cooperate with the colony administration in every possible way. They often hold some kind of position, commandant, head of the housekeeper, etc. In many black zones, goats live in separate units as other convicts treat them with extreme dislike. Activists enjoy various benefits provided by the administration. If the zone is red, they can direct the life of other prisoners and collect the common fund, like the Blatniks in the black zone. Naturally, the goats do not call themselves that. They prefer to use the words administrators, activists, reds. In general, the very notion of activist is rather vague. For example, if a person works as a brigadier, a librarian, or an orderly, he or she may well be a man or even a Blatnik. Everything is individualized everywhere. Well, if Blatni want to ask for it, they can do it in relation to even the most ardent follower of thieves' traditions. There is also another one of the podcasts, constipated. That is, they are those who ate or drank from cocked utensils, but not homosexuals. Even smoking a single cigarette with a rooster is not allowed. they will definitely be asked for it. The status of the constipated is lower than devils, but higher than cocks. The caste to the lowest level is the lowered. There, of course, fall homosexuals, as well as those who entered into such contact under duress. You can become a lowered if you simply cannot prove that you are not a cock. And such people can organize groups with their leader, who is often called dad or mum by everyone. Such leaders simply bully their subordinates, make them do the dirtiest work, etc. This phenomenon is most often observed in those places of deprivation of liberty where the administration gathers such people together. Cells with the omitted are often called nunneries, harems, cockfights. According to the concepts, a person can be put down for very serious, from their point of view, misdemeanors. This includes denunciation, especially secret denunciation. People who have relatives working in law enforcement agencies can be put down. They can also be asked for stealing from their own, but if you stole from strangers or from people on the outside, it will be considered a valiant act. You can be put down for card debts. Such people are called forfeiters. Lowering can happen simply by lawlessness, that is, with violations of the thieves' law. It can even happen by order of the administration in so-called press huts. In the criminal world, these are treated a little better than roosters, but they are also considered to be put down. Criminals convicted of sex crimes, rape, pedophilia, etc., can be put down. Former law enforcers, there are cases when they are sent to a regular zone, not to the cop zone, and soldiers of the internal troops can be put down. So-called dummies, weak-minded prisoners, sick, old, not looking after themselves, can be made low. Even if a prisoner spent a night in a cock cell, he immediately becomes the same in rank. What is interesting is that active homosexuals may not be put-downs and cocks, but can live quite normally and use the sexual services of the put-downs. Contrary to popular belief, cocksuckers are not the lowest caste in prison. Below them are the offended and the downcast. They are periodically abused. If a downcast is transferred to another place, he must immediately say who he is, otherwise there will be a very serious demand up to and including murder. What professions can be asked for? If the first comer gets to the zone, then his neighbors, of course, are immediately interested in his status on the outside, orientation, past. In the world of Blatnoy, there are professions that, to put it mildly, are not considered prestigious in this environment. Of course, the most disrespected are people who are in any way associated with law enforcement. Such people include security guards from stores. Military men and even those who have served in the army are also negatively treated. It is worth saying that the latter applies only to contract workers. In the zone, they are called machine gun faces, machine gunners. Those who worked in power are despised. Former deputies, civil servants, etc. will not be respected in the zone. The profession of a lawyer is not particularly respected. Usually they are put in the cops zone, but they can also be put in the ordinary one. Here the logic is simple. It is a man of the system and therefore an enemy. But if the lawyer will help other prisoners legally, he will be respected on the contrary. As you can understand, everything is individual. You can ask anyone and for anything if necessary. After all, in one place, to sit next to some offended is considered almost a transfer to his own caste, and in another place for this is not asked. And all such inquiries are becoming less and less relevant, especially since this happens most often in black zones and among blatniks, and there are fewer and fewer real blatniks and black zones.